Hi, I'm Ross. Welcome back to Ask Me Questions About Filmmaking. Today, I'm going to ask myself a question after this. Welcome. Today I'm asking myself a question about what it's like to be a director of photography on a film and what's the responsibilities, because it's not just about cameras and lighting. So it's about time management and planning also. So what I see on YouTube is a lot of people just talking about cinematic lighting, of which most of it is a soft light. The person sits in a chair, nobody moves, it's a still photo. On a feature film, they're called movies because things move. Cameras move, people move. So you have to adjust your lighting as per how the shot is blocked. And that means working closely with the director. So there's good apps on phones for framing sizes and whatever, because you need to really totally understand what the director wants, because otherwise you're going to waste time. I plan time as in there's 6 10 minutes in an hour. If one department takes 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I've just lost that time of people in front of the camera, because to tune in lights, to make someone look good or whatever, I need people. We can have stand-ins if we can afford them, and we try and choose a stand-in who's close in height, complexity, hair color to the actor, so we can line things up as close as possible. It also involves camera movement, because if you set something up and the director suddenly says, that's not what I want, you just lost that time. You must finish so many scenes and shots per day to maintain your schedule. So that's where the planning comes in. And you have to design your planning, whether you're shooting on location or in a studio, how to plan things out. And okay, if we're shooting on location, the biggest thing you need to work with is the sun, because the sun does not stay still. The sun keeps moving. So you might plan to say, okay, with the director, this is the blocking. You try and catch him as soon as he turns up to work. This is the blocking. I've used my sun app, so I know the direction of the sun, what time it's going to pop over that building, when it's going to disappear apart from clouds. And let's start to plan, because, okay, the sun's coming in at a nice angle on this background. Can we shoot this way first? It's going to mean jumping around the scenes a bit, but at least your background is going to have continuity. Whereas if you go backwards and forwards and cover other things around the place, by the time you get back to this background, the light has changed. And in the editing, if those shots line up next to each other, you can see the background light has changed, and it's something you can't control. So there's things you can control and things you can't. If you're shooting at night, you should be able to control everything unless it rains or snows. So you've got to plan what the order is of shooting. So again, you need to really be on the same page as the director and talk to him, because he may not be aware of it, he may not care about it. There's different types of directors. Some care about photography, some care about framing, some just care about acting, some care about everything. You have to understand what type of director you're working with. So there are a lot of things to consider to plan the light, because you might want something lit a certain way, but then the director wants a different angle or whatever, and that just blew your plan out of the water. So you need to get on the same page with him and plan how it goes. Same with shooting an interior. You got this great light coming through a window, but now the person's moving over to the kitchen. Now, should the light be coming in on the same angle? How do I play with that? Where can I mount lights? Is it a studio? Is it a location? In a studio, you need to work with wardrobe. Okay, no, you always need to work with wardrobe, but you also need to work with the production designer or the art director as to what color the walls are. Maybe you want to pull a wall out so we can get some good camera moves around there. Maybe we want to cut a hole in the wall and hide it with a photo. Don't know. So in pre-production, all of this needs to be discussed. Drawing diagrams and whatever, talking with the director saying we can do this, 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 and this, but we're going to need a hole here, we're going to need to pull this wall, there's a fight scene over here, we've got breakaway tables, we've got all this type of stuff, so we need more room, and we want to poke a crane in so we can get over the top. Who knows? So this is generally comes up in pre-production, and you've really got to nail the director down, because once it's set up, if there's a decision change, it can blow a lot of time. It can actually blow your day. Then the producer isn't going to be happy. So everyone needs to be on the same page. And a lot of times that's driven by the director of photography, because other people just may not think about it. So you're in charge of a lot of departments. You're responsible for everything in front of the camera, and actually you've got the first AD who controls the schedule, and he might be telling you to hurry up, or I might be telling the first AD, we're ready, can we get them in, because we've got to keep going. So it's a team job. Everyone's got to play the same game. Now, time setting up gear. If you're doing a big crane shot and you don't want to waste time, so you pull the director over, you get out your phone app, you choose a lens saying, okay, we're going to start here, we want to finish here. You got to see how level the ground is, because if you're running on a crane on a dolly, if the ground is uneven, you got to build it up, level it out, and all that type of stuff. Easy way, or a great way to do it, is have a big tape measure, the length of your crane. So you basically drag it out, get chalk marks on the ground. This is where we're going to start. That's where the crane is. The crane's going to come around here. We're going to finish over here. Put chalk marks on the ground. Now you got to draw a straight line. That's where you put your track down. We're going to use this lens, and this is how it's going to be. So you do it once and you do it properly. You cannot afford to guess, because if the director suddenly says, this is not what I wanted, to move that can take 45 minutes or an hour. Again, you've got 11 or 12 hours in a day to shoot what you need to do, depending on which country you're in. So you need to be precise. In Bulgaria, I'm working on a movie, and in the middle of town, we've built a petrol station, and we plan on blowing it up. And in the beginning, on pre-production in the meetings, I said I had 2 cherry pickers with big lights on them. I actually wanted 3, but they said, okay, we can't afford 3. So I said, okay, for when we turn around and do these shots, I need 45 minutes to move this cherry picker. Not just the cherry picker, but you also have to move a generator, because it depends how much cable you're running. And everyone agreed with me until the day of shooting turns up, and it's like, okay, it's time for me to move the cherry picker. But now, we don't have the time for it. So suddenly I have to change my plans. You must be flexible. And we continued shooting, and I just made some adjustments, and we kept going. So, using a light meter and pre-lights, because while you're shooting one scene, maybe your next scene is in the next set, it's in the next whatever. You need to run off a diagram, you've gone to check the location, you need to talk to your pre-lighting gaffer. I want this light here, here and here, or whatever. These are the stops I want. Now, you don't have a camera set up so you can check your false color or your histogram. You use a light meter. Also, if you want to maintain an exact contrast ratio while shooting, you use a light meter. Today, light meters don't seem popular. People don't know how to use them, I guess. They're relying on everything out of a camera, and they can't do a shot without a camera. On a movie, that's just not acceptable. You need to have things pre-done. You can tune it in when you get there, but you need to have it 90% set up, ready to go. And the only way to do that is with a light meter. You get your basic settings saying, you know, I'm shooting at 4, I'm shooting at 2.8, I'm shooting at 2. This is my light coming in. I got a few hits in the background, whatever. But I know I'm in the ballpark totally because I have a light meter. So that's something people really need to start learning again about. So now, working with other departments. So you're working with wardrobe, you're working with the art department. You might even have to work with the location department as to where to park cars. Because if you're shooting outside, at some point we're going to look this way. We don't want all the crew cars parked over there. So they may not be aware of it, but you know that, okay, you know, to go on shoot on location, bottom line, end of the day, you're going to shoot 360. Let's hide all the cars behind this building, that building, whatever. At some point, I'm going to have to move this light. I'm going to have to do this or whatever. You want to keep your camera truck as close as possible. So you have equipment, camera and camera lighting and grips. You want to keep them as close as possible in case you want any extra equipment. So you really need to keep every department up to date. And the camera department is always the busiest department. As soon as you finish one shot, you're lining up the next one. So you've got to plan a few shots ahead. Plan your lighting a few shots ahead. In fact, the whole scene ahead. Then suddenly you're switching from day to night. So, but you're still in daytime. So you've got to have negative covers ready to go over the windows or build tents outside the windows so you can still have lights coming in. You need to plan ahead. You might need extra scaffolding. You might need cherry pickers. You might need a bit of construction. All these things are part of the director of photography, not just cameras and lights. So hopefully this conversation will lead to you guys asking me more questions and also about camera operating. See you next time.